lot of people ask me how I'm affording all of this. And like, trust me, everything in here.
So help me out, 'cause we just living like it's all beneath us. Drowning in the feeling, can't help but take it farther. I'm breathing underwater.
Hello my friends and welcome to the new studio that is 50% completed. Painting the desk, the entire ceiling and the front wall still have to be treated and done. Today I've tested the first LEDs and it's so cool. I can go over here, change the color to any kind of color. I can make it react to music. It has like a small built-in mic, so whenever I play music in here, it can react to it. And there in the back, you see just one LED stripe. I have 40, the entire ceiling. It will be epic, maybe even too epic, and I have to dial it down. I don't know, but definitely a lot of fun. And since I spent the entire day just sitting here focusing on making music, because I have to have a new release. There's like a gap in my release schedule already big enough due to the virus crisis, so I need to finish the next song. The next song is a collaboration called Underwater, amazing vocals, and it's done. I've finished it. It's entirely done, fully mixed, fully automated. Every little mistake is gone. It sounds really good. I'm very proud. You can definitely hear that it was mixed in a place that is fully treated. It's so much more fun because you can hear everything. I just absolutely love it. But the day is unfortunately almost over. It's already 6. So we'll just do a quick Q&A and tomorrow back to constructing, because now I got the new song, so I can focus for the next month on finishing the studio and then just fully back to music. But let's see. Today's Q&A is like all about the studio, so I'm really curious what you guys will ask. So first question is by Leonard. Leonard used to work here. He's asking when he and Max can come by for a little reunion. I actually thought about it because like now people can meet again. So maybe like a poker night in 2-3 weeks. I first want to finish the studio. How much money should you spend on basic soundproofing if you're an amateur producer? Soundproofing is a whole nother story because all you see in here is acoustic treatment. It's meant to make the acoustics in the room good. Get a flat frequency response and the reverb time down. Soundproofing really depends on what your neighbors complain about, but how much you should spend, it's really up to what kind of ceiling you have, kind of walls, how far away the neighbors are. Too many factors to answer this in a proper way. Total cost of the studio. I'd say just the studio, not the gear, around 10,000. Like all of the LEDs, which are the most expensive, the tables, all of the absorbing stuff. I think that's very inexpensive. That's of course not factoring in my time, but I think if you would go to a contractor and tell them to build this kind of studio, it would be at least 50,000. Don't you have a lot of latency with all of the adapters on long cables? No, absolutely not actually, because Thunderbolt doesn't introduce any latency. USB also nothing you could notice. Audio latency, because like everything is running through the ADDA converters, and yes, they introduce latency at the point where it gets transferred into the computer, but the analog stuff within itself in the system doesn't introduce any latency. It's like currency, that's really fast. And like simple plugins in Logic introduce more latency than all of the gear you see. So Logic compensates to the slowest part in the chain, which is always a plugin, and it's fine. So there's no difference using the gear or not. It's the same latency. Are you thinking of adding a recording booth? No, absolutely not. I don't have the space up here. I could any second record someone just here in the room and me being like just really silent. And for longer recording sessions, we still got the B Studio with the vocal booth, where everything is set up and dedicated, so no need. I'm actually not recording that much. The biggest downside about your new studio, I mean, obviously that it's not done. The downside, I mean, I don't know if you can see it. Let's try and focus on the back wall. There in the back, those two windows in the middle, like, it would be so nice to have like one continuous window. It would be so epic, but that's way too expensive and this is not mine, so I'm definitely not doing that. But no downside so far. How heavy is one standing acoustic panel? He's talking about these right there. I think 60 kilograms, 50, 60. So around 100 pounds. It's doable with 2 persons. Alone, you're not getting far. Are you afraid about mineral wool particles in lungs? Some people say it can be dangerous. I've already clarified that in the EU since 2000 and something, by law it's forbidden that the particles are like small enough to enter your lung. It's still not good, but it doesn't enter your body and doesn't stay in there. And the fabric is like special fabric for acoustic panels. It holds back all of the material and is still acoustically transparent. And yeah, no problem. I can't smell it. If I go around where it's still open, you can definitely feel it, but also that will be covered soon. What is the name of the software you use to check your studio frequency? I'm using Room EQ Wizard. It's for free. It works on Windows and Mac. If you haven't tried it, go get it. And it's the mineral wool. Are you building actually everything yourself? So far, yes, pretty much, yes. I mean, I have 2 interns right here, but they only help me carrying stuff, like putting things together. I planned everything in a way I could do it myself, because I didn't know which direction the virus crisis would take us. So I needed to make sure I can put it together myself. And I'm a perfectionist, so the second someone else does anything, they don't do it like I want it to be done, so I have to redo it. So I'm, yes, doing everything myself, except for the fabric, putting it around. My dad helped me to speed up the process because we had this fabric hiccup, but let's not talk about that. What's your favorite gear and why? That's pretty simple. Out of everything you see right here, this one right here, the Better Maker Mastering Limiter. This thing is insane. Could wooden floor mess up the acoustics in your studio? No, absolutely not. Like, a lot of people think you need carpet in your studio. That's the worst you can do. Anything you introduce in your studio, any kind of material, that is just absorbing the high frequencies. That is acoustic panels that are too thin, acoustic rugs in front of the windows, like stuff that only filters the high frequencies. It leaves you with a room where all of the high frequencies are like pulled down and in check, and the low end isn't affected by these thin materials, and it's the same as before, and you get a very imbalanced sound. That's even worse than not treating your room at all. So if you do it broadband, or at least have certain absorbers, tuned absorbers, Helmholtz resonators, stuff that takes care of the low end in the same way you take care of the top end. So the floor in a studio should always be hard. Hard is perfect. Because like the main, I mean, there are a couple of theories when it comes to the perfect studio, but one of them is building the front speakers into the wall. The front wall, like fully reflective, hard material, and the floor as well. And the side walls, back wall, and ceiling fully absorbing. That's like the go-to that most studios try to achieve. And that's also basically what I'm doing here. I mean, you have to think about how our brains are wired. We're not used to living or like being in rooms. We're like genetically speaking still animals, and our hearing is tuned to being outside. So the only reflective surface our ear usually knows of is the floor, because we're always standing on something, and we're usually standing on something that is hard. So like the bounce from the floor sounds very natural. Recording a guitar or drums on top of a carpet, especially guitars, acoustic guitars on a carpet, sounds really shitty. You need that bounce from the floor. Everything else, take it away. No bounce. But the floor, definitely hard. No carpet. If you have a carpet in your studio, get rid of it. Is the second table, this one right here, for the DJ decks? No, there will be no DJ decks in here because we're doing DJ courses and I don't want to have them in here. This is my place and no one else will enter it. So the second table is for me just like, I don't know, unboxing stuff, having some synthesizers here on top, just like gear, or maybe if I'm working on something or I'm soldering something, like just a second table that is free. Because like the main table up here, that's maybe one of the downsides of my studio actually. You see it's angled all the way. Usually all studio desks are straight at the bottom. But I like the angle because like your hands and wrists, they are way more natural on it. All drawing tables are usually angled all the way through. It has just the downside that you can't put a glass here. It will just like fall down, which might be actually a positive thing again, so no one puts their drinks here. You see, it doesn't hold. Even my phone, it's just sliding. But right here is the key charging, and that one stays on there, so I have to put my phone there. It can't be anywhere else, and it's always charged since I'm having it this way. So some negatives that turn out into positives, that's always great. Next up, my favorite question. I personally, I have to say I hate it somehow, because I think always people are asking because they think I don't deserve it, or that I'm cheating, or like that something is fishy. But a lot of people ask me how I'm affording all of this. And like, trust me, everything in here I earned myself. Everything in here is paid. I'm not like in debt or anything, so don't worry. It's all saved up money over the years. I've saved up for building a studio like this, and also things are working out quite good, because I mean, there's the DJ course, production course, we're renting out the studio. All of these things are working even due to the virus crisis, especially now we have like holidays, everyone has time, so there are a lot of people here in the studio. I never share this because those are random people that don't want to be filmed. And then of course I'm doing mixing, mastering for people. By the way, if you're interested, all of this is in the description. Then we of course have the label that like makes money, not a lot, but it still generates a little. And then actually the biggest part is my own music. I have like 30-40 releases, labels fortunately paying all of them, and then also some ghost productions that make some money. So it's like everything a little, but all together actually makes enough to do all of this. And there is still a lot of sacrifices. Like I prefer buying analog gear and no real vacation. I prefer buying analog gear and my shoes have holes. Like, it's all about priorities. This one right here, making music to the best of my ability, is my priority. So sacrificing everything else. I hope that clarifies it a little. There is also a new sample pack coming up soon. The sample packs also help to reinvest into the studio, and we're usually doing them just like $5 so everyone can afford them. And I think, yeah, Friday we're doing the next sample pack. Are you going to allow eating and drinking in the new studio? Yes, but only for me. So probably on that table. Up here, definitely no. How much did it cost material-wise for the tables? The tables, I don't know, below 200. Like, the wood doesn't cost anything. It's very inexpensive. The paint will actually maybe be quite expensive, because you have to make it smooth, paint it again, and then like this will be fun. Will you finish the floor? Yes, 100%. This is just like a construction to make everything like the entire floor is floating. So I had to put in 2 layers of new floor. It will get like a cover, probably black or dark gray. How did you learn carpentry? I didn't learn it at all. Like, all I know is just me trying out stuff, and maybe a little from my parents, both artists, so I always had to help them. But it's easy stuff. I mean, you just cut it and screw it together, and eventually it works. What synths will you have? I'm not sure yet, because I'm broke basically. Like, I have like still a little left to build the rest of the studio, but I need to wait a little for money to like reach me again, and then buy the next stuff. So since no synths ordered, nothing planned, my gear addiction is hopefully now under control for the next week. But yeah, just tune in. Definitely more stuff coming soon. Make a video on how you connect your analog gear. I will make a full video once it's all fully hooked up, because right now I've just 7 units connected. The rest, like all of the gear that is for recording, is not connected at the moment. Okay, like half of the questions are about how much I've spent for making this studio. Do you prefer SonarWorks or Room EQ Wizard for measuring and room correction, and why? SonarWorks is fine. I also made a full review about it. It's good, but it's not the best possible. It's the best possible for the money because it's not that expensive, but there are better solutions, way better solutions, but unfortunately way more expensive. And I'm not sure yet what I will get here for this studio. I first want to finish the acoustic treatment and then get one of these sneaky things that kind of flattens your frequency response. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see us tomorrow again back here in the studio. More constructing. Table needs to be finished. Ceiling. I'll try. I have a plan, but I have to try.
Can't help but